Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere in the Middle. And as usual, this is Pao.
This is Kati.
And this is Raffy.
And for today's episode, we will be talking about some obscure stuff. Okay, basically, we'll be talking about some parts of history that are classified as obscure. Now, obscure, baka maraming nag-nosebleed sa ating mga Bekshi na nakikinig. So dahil po dyan...
Actually, Bekshi, naghanap din ako ng cellphone para malaman ko na obscure. Pero, go. Sabihin mo na.
Cellphone yung hinahanap mo. Gusto ko cellphone yung hinahanap mo para sa obscure. Hindi definition, cellphone talaga. Napaka-smart. Charot.
Aray ko. Bang, bang, bang.
Anyway, so to define, ayan, ang ating reference person for this episode, Bekshi Raffy, ano nga ba ang salitang obscure? Can you define it for us?
According to Merriam-Webster.
Oh, wow.
Oo.
Dapat ang sinabi mo, according to my friend, who's your friend? Maria. Dapat ganon.
Sorry, hindi kasi ako kasi talino mo. Pang matalino joke yun eh, okay? So, according to Pau's friend, obscure means not readily understood or clearly expressed, or which in this case applies to our episode, is relatively unknown.
Ooh. Dapat may ganun sound effects pa rin. Pag sabi mo ng unknown, ooh.
Hindi, ulit. Relatively unknown.
Ooh. Perfect. Diba?
Pero natawa ko na sa awo mo. Sa dulo.
Sino?
Ikaw.
Ako?
May pagka-Karen Carpenter kasi yung awo mo eh.
Hindi ko siya kilala, tumatawa lang ako.
May pagka-Karen Carpenter. Yung parang babaeng tulog pero gising, Char.
Sino yon?
I-google mo na lang.
Carpenter nyo? Charot. Anyway. Sige, ayan. So, ang mga unknown down, usually unknown na parts of history. So, that's what we will be talking about for this episode. Ayan. So, we have a collection of some obscure history facts that we'll be presenting to you guys for this episode. And yung first set natin is medyo international level tayo. International. So let's go to the international. That's how you say it. Now the first one, ako na magbibigay since nagsasalita na ako, 'di ba? Moment ko na daw eh. Sige. So, sabi dito. Oo, nasa akin ang mic. Para sa mga nanonood sa YouTube, may hawak talaga akong mic. Sariling stick up to. Okay. So, sabi dito, in 1972, every single one of the 159 counties in the state of Georgia, so sa US to, the state with the second most counties in the United States voted Republican. So, if you know yung US politics ninyo, usually yung mga Republican, yun sila yung mga anti-divorce, sila yung mga what do you call this? Yung mga anti-LGBT marriage, ano pa ba? Sila yung mga anti-abortion.
Di ba asawa ng uncle yan? Si Auntie, sabi.
Pari mo. Ako. End call. Ganun bigla. Tigil na natin to. Masyado nang late. Charot. Anyway. Ay, sige. Bigyan natin ng 3 seconds moment of silence yung joke ni Raffy. Ayan, welcome back. Sige. So, thank you for your joke, Bekshi Raffy. So, yan. So, in 1972 daw, yung Georgia na state voted Republican. 159 counties niya. Okay? Every single one. Now, come 1976, 4 years later, every single county in Georgia voted Democrat. Okay, so Democrat sila yung mga pinaglalaban yung
Sila yung mga uncle.
basically the opposite.
Sila yung mga
Oh.
uncle. Kasi kanina auntie.
Mami Scotty, oh. Okay ako.
Okay,
Sobrang
sige na.
daddy joke. Nakakainis.
Go na. So,
Parang napaghahalataan yung edad ng isa
Edad.
dyan. Charot.
okay, so Democrats are the opposite of the Republicans. Okay.
Oo. So basically sila yung mga basically mga less racist people of the United States, yung mga inclusive rights for all, sila yung pro-choice, sila yung mga ganon. Okay? So it's I think it's a nice way, or it's a nice bit of history to point out. It's amazing how from being a Republican na state, no, yung mga counties, all of them shifted to becoming Georgian tuloy. Georgia sila, malamang Georgian sila. Bobo. To becoming Democrats. Kasi it shows na parang ako kasi personally, kaya ako to pinili din kasi if I were part of the United States, most likely Democrat ako.
Alam mo, yan din yung
Supporting that side.
sasabihin
Kaya parang
ko.
Wow, ang amazing nun that they were able to convert the entire state.
Yan din yung sasabihin ko. Yan ang pinili mo kasi yan ang trigger point mo eh.
Oo. Ganoon naman talaga tayo. Kung ano yung trigger point natin, kung ano malapit sa puso natin, yun ang pipiliin natin. Parang pag-ibig lang yan. Anyway, so that is the first. So,
Okay.
may opinion ba kayo regarding that?
Ako, I want to learn what's with the change. Like what was the catalyst or the event that prompted them to change? Maybe we
I
can
like
just research
that.
on that.
Oo, I like that kasi it's part of history and history is something to learn from. May ganon. Very educational pala ang ating topic.
Ang hirap naman ito. Kailangan
Okay.
natin mag-research.
Scotty, ang ano na yung tsuba mo dyan?
Well, yung akin very maiksi kasi ang haba ng binasa ni Pao. So, eto. So, this was posted 5 years ago. So, I'm not sure if this is still obscure. So, President Andrew Jackson, which is the seventh president of the US. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mababash ka pag mali.
I-research ko siya.
Pag mali siya, ibig sabihin, dumami na ang listeners natin.
Yay!
Yay! Nabash ni Scotty!
Yes, Scotty. Gumawa ka ng controversy, Char.
Hindi pala pa siyang pang 7. So sabi nga, pang 7th US President. So going back. So President Andrew Jackson had a parrot as a pet. Okay? So when Jackson died, his parrot was present at the funeral. Pero ito yung funny thing. Kinick out yung parrot kasi masyado siyang mag-swear but was kicked out for swearing too much.
Oh, so yun lang yung tinuturo ng presidente.
Hindi,
So,
pero
parang yung presidente para natin ngayon yan, mahilig magmura. Diyos!
Baka mabash tayo!
Paano na?
Well.
Totoo naman.
Gusto mo
Kahit
yung-
anong kampo
gusto mo
ka,
yung-
it's true.
gusto mo yung pa-virgin niya na, well, well,
Oo.
siguro, pero if I remember it, diba, IIRC, Char,
Mhm.
yung president na yan was known for being a potty mouth. If IIRC nga.
Akala ko sabihin ni Raff. If I remember correctly, nung isang araw, parang ganun nga siya. Oo, friend ko kasi siya.
So, ano na ako, 100 plus, 400 plus years old na ako.
Wala akong sinasabi ha. I'm just
Vampira.
stating facts.
Vampira pala.
Charot.
ako.
Malay mo, in your
Di
past
ba maging
life,
thankful
kaibigan
ka?
mo. Diba? Past life mo, kaibigan mo siya, naalala mo yung
Hindi.
past life mo.
Alam mo ba't ko alam? Ako pala
Bakit?
yung parrot, Char.
Kaya mo nagsisilip ko ng book mo.
Ako pala yung parrot na yun in my past life. Char.
So, hindi pala to obscure history episode. Ang babash pala ang episode na to. Charot! Anyway.
So, sa'yo na,
sige.
Rafi.
Ako na. So, kung kayo, US, I'm gonna bring it to the major competitor of US. I'm gonna bring it to China.
Ay.
So, my obscure history
Kami ng squat list! Charot!
Uy, mamaya may mag-bash na naman.
Bakit? Mga Pilipino na naman makikinig. Char.
Okay, so ang obscure history fact ko, bago saan pa tayo mapunta, the way of ancient China, yung way, W-E-I, of, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, the way of ancient China had some contact with the land of Wa, which is now Japan. So, nung ancient
The
times...
land of ano?
Wa. W-A.
Isa pa nga.
Wa. Wow. Wow. It's me and my jowa.
Ay, Lord.
So yun, ang Japan, it was called Wa nung time ng ancient China. So during voyages of China to Japan, they would have what is called a fortune keeper. Hindi fortune teller, fortune keeper. So, ang trabaho ni fortune keeper is he would not bathe, not eat meat, stay away from women, and generally act depressed all the time. Why? The idea is that he suffers all of the horrible things that could go wrong dun sa voyage, that it won't happen to the voyage itself. Kumbaga, kinuha niya na lahat ng bad energy na pwedeng mangyari dun sa voyage. So, when he gets back home, he gets rewarded with gold, women, food, slaves, and everything. If something goes wrong, they kill him because clearly he wasn't doing his job.
Nakatakot. Alam mo yung ikaw na yung nagsasuffer sa buong barko. Kasi kung bumagyo man, syempre hindi mo alam kung babagyo or whatsoever. Papatayin ka pa nila.
Pero I'm not surprised with this kasi knowing Chinese history and what, marami talagang beliefs, right? Like yung even kaya nga Chinese have yung mga panlaban, pangkontra, diba? Parang you keep this
mga talisman and stuff.
Yeah, you got it, talisman.
Yeah.
Talisman lang. Okay, ngayon kasi gemstone na lang.
Diba? Meron pa sila yung mga parang red na, yung hindi naman red, yung white na banners na yung di banners.
Ay, actually may red din.
Tapos yung minsan dinidikit lang nila, diba? Parang I remember an old
Sailor Mars char.
Yung meron I remember yung isang movie na yung Chinese, tapos si Chris Aquino nandun. Parang 90s pa yon. Tapos parang
Kung save.
Hindi. Ewan ko kung nag-mix-mix na yung memory ko. Pero meron yung, or si Cynthia Luster. Yung, may movie nung 90s or 80s yon na yung movie na multo siya, tapos nakabihis talaga siya ng traditional Chinese garb. Tapos, medyo comedy siya na action na parang panahon nga ni Cynthia Luster. Tapos meron yung dinidikit na parang red or white na may Chinese symbols, tas parang mawawala or babalik na dun sa land of the dead yung mga spirit.
Ay, okay. Nakalimutan ko ang tawag dyan. Na-feature yan sa Shaman King.
Ayun.
Oh, dun sa mga zombies, parang sa mga zombies.
Oo.
Okay, katawan ng patay, tapos papasokan siya ng spirit.
Talisman nga ata. Charot. Anyway, that's so cool and that's so sad. That's such a sad part of history.
Yung burden sa shoulders mo, it's very big. Kasi parang sa'yo nakasalalay kung yung voyage would be successful. So pag hindi naging successful,
Sige po.
Kasi last voyage mo na yon, last na biyahe mo na yon.
Imagine, you're suffering physically. You're suffering emotionally. And you're suffering mentally kasi meron kang paranoia na, oh my God, may mangyayari bang masama? Lalo na pag hindi ka believer, di ba? Pag hindi ka believer ng mga ganun, tas ikaw yung naging keeper ang tawag, no?
No, pero parang job yun talaga. That was that person's job. Hindi yung parang random lang na, okay, for this voyage, ikaw yung fortune keeper natin. Ganon.
Paano kaya sila pinapatay? Okay, may nangyari. Hulog ka dyan sa dagat.
Or kung may nangyari,
iba.
Kung may nangyari, di ba, parang hindi ka na kailangan patayin kasi namatay na kayo dun sa voyage.
Pero, kayo ba, magiging willing ba kayo maging fortune keeper?
No.
Hindi. Ikaw?
Bilis naman makano. Hindi, kung kunwari, you're just going out for a week sa dagat. Just a week yung sailing nyo. No? But you're gonna act as a fortune keeper. And then, once bumalik kayo, all the riches will be yours. Parang ang daming ibibigay sa'yo.
Before ako umoo.
Lalaki, ganyan.
Before ako umoo.
Talaga may lalaki agad, no?
Before ako
Yun yung pang
umoo.
convince sa inyo. Ano?
I would like to see statistics muna.
Nang along statistics.
Like, kunyari,
30, 40.
Statistics? Bakit na statistics?
Titles na pala. Nakakabuisit. Hindi, yung statistics ng voyages to from China to Japan, how many yung nasisiraan ng barko, or how many naka-crash dun sa wala naman kasi sinabi, di ba? Or kung yung voyage ba na sinasabi is yung trading between them, ganyan, kung magiging successful yung trading. I want to see statistics muna, syempre, di ba? Bago ka umoo, kung kunyari 80-90% successful naman, bakit hindi?
Okay.
May very intellectual. How about you, Scotty? Vital statistics ba ang basics?
Vital statistics, yung kung ano yung nasa barko niya, yung mga lalaki dun sa barko.
Hindi, sa akin, I don't need to know the details kasi come to think of it, emotionally, psychologically, di ba? Yung aftermath ng psychologically, kung ilang days of suffering yon, even though makuha mo yung riches afterwards, for sure, for me baliw ka na nun. So, hindi mo na-aanhin yung riches.
Baka for sure ka naman na baliw ka na nun.
Hindi, kasi...
So, anong itsura ko noon? Mukha akong pera, tas ikaw for mental health, tas ako mukha akong pera.
Okay, so yes, thank you for that. So, mukhang pera si Raffy, and si Scotty is an analyst. Charot! Ay, naka... Sabi ko na bashing ang episode na to eh. Akala nyo obscure history Iba talaga yung topic natin. Oh, ayan. So no talaga for you, Scotty.
Yes.
Ako na based dun sa...
Wait lang, paano
ko talaga yung sarili ko no?
Paano pag na-know ka pa lang from the first place, papatayin ka na kaya nila?
Baka naman kasi pag hindi mo job.
Hindi, kasi hindi mo job yun. Hindi naman yung parang, okay, for this voyage, you are the fortune keeper. Hindi. Yun talaga yung, kumbaga, yun talaga yung nasa calling card mo na Scott Valencia, fortune keeper.
Bumapangalan. Fred, bumapangalan. Ano to?
Oo.
Para ma-stock ka na lang ng mga followers. Mga listeners.
So, parang
kasi
lang kaya.
Kasi sabi dito, would not bathe, not eat meat, stay away from women. So, okay lang naman.
Madali ko stay away from women sa inyo.
Wow! Wow, hindi ka kasama sa stay away from women?
I can stay away from people in general.
Kung makasama ka?
Hindi kasi kayo nga yung tinatanong ko. Yung dalawa, scenario sa inyong dalawa. Hindi ako kasali.
Pero
wait lang.
Ganun kasi parang from Japan, China to Japan, parang it would just take like how many days. Hindi naman yung 1 week talaga, di ba? Parang ako feeling ko kakayanin ko the stress. Pero it's not naman para sa akin na. Parang it would not be as stressful as what Scotty is saying. Pinagtanggol ko daw talaga yung pagmumukha kong pera, no?
Hindi kasi yung burden pa lang eh. So, pag-akit mo pa lang sa barko, tapos yung, ewan ko anong klaseng dasal yung gagawin mo during sa barko, di ba?
Baka it depends on the level of probability sa whether na lumabas kayo. Baka kasi pag alam mo namang sunny talaga, okay talaga yung weather, tapos dire-diretso lang ang mangyayari, tapos dire-diretso marami ng mga successful na voyages, it's chill.
Yun nga.
Chill ka lang.
Kaya nga sabi ko, I would need statistics, right?
Ayun na nga.
Pero in fairness lumalabas talaga yung different natin, kaya somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Ibalik
And parang voyage, no? May mga pin yung ating logo.
Pero ibalik natin naman dun sa nagtanong. So, ikaw, Pao, would you do it?
According to
oh my God!
Sabi niya, according to the statistics din.
Ako, I would base it on the season. Kala nyo I would base it on the season kasi yung weather patterns are based on seasons. Ay, thank you!
Paano ko lumindol? Sa dagat?
Lumindol sa dagat.
Meron ang underwater tectonic plate movement.
And to the fact na Japan or Wa is kasama sa Ring of Fire.
But hindi siya, mas mafe-feel siya sa shores ang ganung lindol.
Pero it can,
kasi
it can...
edi, after nung lindol, tsunami.
Tsunami,
Palaan pa lang pala, no? Pagkalan, bilang tsunami! Oh my God. Knock on wood, wherever is the wood. Anyway. Parang ang gagawin natin, no?
Kasi naman may ganyan pa, di ba? Sa modern technology natin, meron pa palang fortune keeper.
Oo. Lugi yung mga businesses na magbibigay sa fortune keeper ng pera with the amount of knowledge that we have right now. Sure, amount of knowledge that we have right now. We have so much knowledge.
Okay. So, Pao.
Ayan. Oo, so we went international. Okay, so after going international, let's go somewhere local naman. So, medyo US tayo. So, balik naman tayo sa, well, hindi na pala US, meron pala China. Okay? I like how I said that with a scowl na parang, China. Charot lang. Wow. Anyway, so, punta naman tayo sa local. Mas malapit.
Don't hate the country. Kasi, di ba, hindi naman sila nagde-decide for what's happening.
Yeah. It's the people naman who's working on what's happening that you have to prosecute.
Kasi nung nabubuhay pa yung nung parang last month ni Papa ko, pumunta kami ng China for treatment dun sa sakit niya. And I had dahil nagstay ako doon for months, ganyan. So parang it was nice. Parang kung saan kami nagstay, people were good.
Saan ba dun sa China?
Sa Guangzhou. Guangzhou daw.
Sa Guangzhou. First obscure history na related to the Philippines. Di umano. Actually, hindi. Di umano.
Jessica Soho.
Oo nga eh. Very Jessica Soho. Di umano. In 1942, almost 16 million pieces of silver coins were dumped near Corregidor. Some of it remains unretrieved. Okay, so that's basically the summary of it. Now, basically kasi, after the fall of Manila na tinatawag in 1942, ayan. So may...
malapit ang history ng JCI doon.
Oo, totoo. Malapit na yung JCI history doon. So, after the fall of Manila in 1942, now, yung mga Filipino and American officials, so nagmamadali sila to escape and we're thinking of ways para i-keep or ilayo yung national treasury ng Philippines away from the Japanese at that time. No? Now, ang ginawa nila, yung treasury kasi nung Philippines at that time was like 17 million pesos in paper bills, and they had 269 pieces of gold bars and around 16,422 16 millions. I'm sorry, 16,422,000 pesos silver in coins. So napakadami. Of course, baka sabihin nyo, naku, 16 million para isang house and lot lang yan ngayon. Iba yun before, 'di ba? Kasi this was
May
like
inflation price pa yan.
Yeah, this was during the time na mayaman pa ang Pilipinas nung wala pang martial law, nung hindi pa bumagsak ang ekonomiya.
Anong nakasulat? 16 million pesos o dollars?
In silver.
Pesos in silver. Pesos in silver.
So, syempre, pag binili natin, pag binigay natin yan sa bibili nila yan eh. Like, kunyari, pag ni-retrieve na, kunyari mag-scuba diving tayo, i-retrieve na niya, it would be worth more.
Pero punta nga ako dyan mamaya. Charot.
Kita tayo sa korehidor,
Pumunta ako sa korehidor mamaya.
Kita tayo sa korehidor.
Kayo nang multuhin sa korehidor.
Oo. So, ang nangyari, since maraming may mga paper bills sila, may mga coins sila, sumakay sila sa isang submarine, isang US submarine, US Trout ang name. TROUT, US Trout.
Like the fish.
Ayan. Yes. Kaya submarine kasi it goes underwater. Like, oh my God, that's so smart. For a name of a submarine.
So kaya din trout kasi isda din siya.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Inulit mo lang.
Nag-aaway na. Mommy, Daddy, stop fighting. Biglang ganun. Anyway, so what they did was, so they burned yung mga bills, and then for the coins dinala nila, eventually isi-ship dapat nila to San Francisco yung mga coins na natitira, okay? But because nawawalan na sila ng time and nagmamadali sila, yun nga kasi nawawalan sila ng time, they decided to dump the remaining 15,792,000 pesos in silver coins to Caballo Bay. Dapat pala hindi ko sinabi para tayo yung nauna doon. Charot. Anyway, so they decided to dump 15,792,000 pesos worth of coins to Caballo Bay, just off Corregidor. Okay? Now, we don't know, but for some reason, the Japanese found out. The Japanese found out. Meron silang spy. Okay, so that's the interesting part. Because of the spy that they have, what the Japanese did is, they got yung mga nahuli nila, the people, the Filipinos, that they made huli. Okay, they made utos. They made utos like, oh my God, there's like coins over there in the Caballo Bay. So you make sised. Okay, so they made sised. Both the Filipinos and the Americans. Mga nahuli nila. Oo. Actually, una mga Pinoy lang. But marami nagkamatayan din. Okay? Ang dami na nilang na-retrieve, pero ang daming hindi nakaka-survive dun sa pag-dive nila na sobrang lalim. Okay?
Wala pang oxygen tank ata na mapanahon.
Hindi pa uso sa technology. Oo.
We're not sure, ha? Kasi we're not sure kasi may submarine.
May submarine.
Kaya nga, diba?
Submarine na, so syempre may oxygen na.
Oo. So, ayun. Pero maraming nagkamatayan. So, they also got yung mga Americans na nahuli nila to do the diving and stuff. Okay? Now, because of that, ang dami nilang naka-retrieve yung mga Americans ng about 150,000 pesos by September 1942. Okay, September 28, 1942. Ayan. Pero inisip nila noon, hindi sila papatalo sa Japanese. Kasi 'di ba, the original reason that they did that was because they didn't want the Japanese to gain access to the treasury.
Mhm.
So what they did, they tried to make nakaw some of the funds that they were able to make sisid, no? But on the down low, just on the DL, bro, on the DL, on the down low, okay? But luckily they were able to like make nakaw mga around 30 to 60,000 pesos without the Japanese knowing. Now, I don't know how they did it. Most likely magagaling ang coordination nila. So, marami pa rin silang na nakuha, and medyo nabalik naman yun kasi napa-change nila with the Chinese money changers in Manila to Japanese currency. So, basically, parang in a way nabalik, I guess. But sorry. But so eventually the program, no, the recovery program na kunin yung mga coins was stopped altogether. Syempre nag-celebrate ng everyone because they don't have to suffer diving, diba? And they don't have to put themselves in danger. And total na kuha ng US Navy when they turned over when sila naman yung kumuha doon, okay, they were able to get 5 million 380,000 pesos. Yung US Navy yung nakakuha nun, hindi yung Japanese. And tinurn over nila yan sa Philippines. Oh, that's so nice. Pero for sure baka may ninakaw yan sila. Anyway, although 75% ng sunken treasure were already recovered, for sure, marami pa rin dyan. No one knows exactly how much remains at the bottom. So, who's with me? So, guys, this is an announcement that this podcast, Somewhere in the Middle, will not be continuing anymore because magdadive na kami sa Caballo Bay. Charot! Kasi may mga ilang million pa doon.
Yeah,
Sa pwede namin
parang pag yung mga old coins talaga, mataas yung value. So based on your kanina, based dun sa mga figures na sinabi mo kanina, may 10 million pa, almost 10 to 11 million na nandun. I'm sure those coins would be worth more.
The question is, kung nasa Caballo Bay pa siya, or gaano kalayo na yung narating mo?
Or, this might be controversial yung comment ko, baka kasama na yan. Baka sina Marcos nagpa-dive na din doon at kumuha na ng coin.
Pwede rin. Oo, that's a possibility.
Diba? May urban legend na or parang sinasabi nila, press release na ang yaman nila nakuha si Yamashita. So baka kasama din dyan.
At saka they basically owned the military that time. Back and call nila yung military during their regime. So pwedeng nautusan nila na parang yung mga natira kunin nyo na, guys. Anyway, that's like theory lang natin. So this is part of the obscure history that we'll be discussing sa Philippines.
Yes. Okay. Scotty.
Ayan.
Okay, here's mine. Okay. Pag narinig nyo ba yung tatlong paring martyr, anong naisip nyo?
Gomborza.
Charot.
Ano na?
Somewhere in the middle.
Martyr ba tayo?
Pare, tatlong paring martyr.
Tatlong pari tayo, hindi nyo ba alam?
Gomborza. Sige na, to move it forward.
Okay.
Forward, Gomborza.
So yun. So actually, ito yun. The words martyr priest, and most Filipino will remember Gomborza. So like what you mentioned. So the three Filipino priests were executed for their alleged involvement in the 1872 Cavite Parang ako taga dito, di ba? Cavite Mutiny.
Cavite! Yung kung sino taga Cavite, siya pa yung nagkamali dyan.
Shucks, kahit ako'y lang ako ng Cavite.
Napaka-cool yung Cavite. Di ba yung sa ngipin? Yung Cavite.
Ako, delikado to.
Taga dyan ka, magiging persona
Nakakahiya ka. Charot.
magiging persona non grata ka na dyan. Paalisin ka na dyan.
Ikaw.
Okay, nahiya for you.
Kasi si Pao, very konyo kayo nakakahawa.
I know, right? I know, right?
Ayun eh. Isa ka pa eh.
So, yan. So, actually, meron pa daw, according to the source, na tatlong martir, which is a Bicolano martyrs, known as Los 15 Martires.
Akala ko, Los Bastardos.
Ay! Sinubet
What's
mo na.
that?
Sige na, tuloy na yung story.
So, eto
What's
yun.
that?
So, basahin ko na lang din na. After the discovery of Katipunan in September 1896, the Spanish government immediately ordered mass arrest of those who were connected to the secret organization, the Katipunan. So, the wrath of the Spaniards eventually reached Bicol. Okay? Sa Bicol nga. And arrests were made between September and October in 1896. So, okay. So, out of these, 15 there were secular priests from Nueva Cáceres. Okay, ngayon ko na nalaman na ang pangalan pala ng Naga, which is the Naga city, is Nueva Cáceres. So, ito yung dalawang pare from them. So, si Father Severino Diaz. Ay, tatlo pala sila. Father Severino Diaz, Father Inocencio Herrera, and Father Gabriel Prieto. So, si Severino was the first secular priest to head the Cathedral of Nueva Cáceres, while si Inocencio Herrera was a native in Pateros, in Rizal. Okay? And nagpunta siya ng Bicol and later become the secular priest and choir master of the cathedral under Diaz. So, then the third priest, which is Father Gabriel, was implicated when his brother Thomas was forced to give up names under severe torture. He was arrested at the parish house in Malinao, Albay. So, yun. So, sila yung sumunod na tatlong paring martyr. So, bound in ropes and chains, the three priests, together with other prisoners, were transferred to Manila aboard the steamship Isarog and Montañez. They were temporarily imprisoned in Convento of San Agustin in Intramuros before being transferred to the Bilibid prison, where they would stay until the execution and by firing squad in Bagong Bayan as well on January 4, 1897. So, kung meron tatlong paring martyr ng Cavite, which is the Gomborsa, meron
Cavite? Ang Cavite?
Cavite.
Pinago ko na nga para hindi ako takwil ng mga kapwa kong Kapitin.
Wala. Damage has been done. Charot.
Yeah.
So yun. So meron din tatlong paring martyr from Bicol.
Oh, so yon, TLDR version, may tatlo pang paring martir. Ano nga tawag sa kanila para ma-remember? Baka malay nyo maging part tayo ng history na clarify natin ito.
Okay, according to the source, so it's Los 15, tama ba? Quince.
Oo.
15, oh.
15 martires. So,
Los
yun yung
15 martires.
Just 15, ano yun?
15, the 15. The 15 martyrs.
The 15 martyrs from Bicol. Nakasama
So,
yung
15 sila.
Okay.
Oo.
Kasama, yung tatlong pari na yon kasama sila dun sa 15
Los
martyrs
15
from
martyrs.
Bicol. Yes.
Now I
Kasi meron,
get it.
kasi di ba meron tayong 13 martires. So which is in Cavite.
In Cavite.
In Cavite.
In Cavite. Okay. That's a nice bit of information and parang ang ganda nga niya na sana na-discuss din. Sana na-discuss din. Baka mamaya na-discuss pala, hindi lang pala talaga tayo nakikinig. Charot.
Oo nga.
I'm not
Feeling ko,
sure.
parang familiar kasi yung Los 15 Martires. Pero, hindi kasi emphasized na 3 of them are also priests.
Oo.
Kaya yung highlighted lang na priest. And I think the reason why highlighted yung 3
Gomborza.
priests, yung Gomborza, is because may event na sila talaga yung naging
Sila lang
Center.
naging center. Oo. Masyado silang pabida. Charot lang.
Ay, wag
Charot
ganun.
Ala, persona non grata sa Philippines.
Sa Philippines.
Sa Cavite lang. Dalawa na kayo.
Sa Cavite. Oo, sa Cavite lang. Charot lang po yun.
Teka lang, hindi ko baka hindi ko alam kung saan sila pinatay. Hindi pala sila sa Bagong Bayad. Kasi yung
Hala, rewriting history.
kaya nga. Wala naman kasi sina-add dun sa source.
Hashtag never forget.
Ayun,
Don't rewrite history.
Baka mabash tayo. So, wala naman nakasaad sa source kung saan sila
Pero, nakulong sila sa
Bilibid Prison.
Oo.
So, may Bilibid Prison na pala nung panahon na yun.
Oo, parang it's the longest running tuba, di ba? Kaya nga siya yung parang
Longest running show.
kaya parang, di ba parang yun yung parang main natin, parang from our areas, dadalhin talaga sila doon. Hindi ba ganon? Parang yun yung major.
Traffic in your area. Charot.
Yung parang pinaka-main holding prison tuba.
Kaya lahat ng mayayaman nandoon.
Interesting.
Ito na naman si Karen Carpenter. Oh.
Wait lang siguro if we wanted Philippine history facts, meron sa TikTok, I forgot her username.
Si Mighty, I forgot. Basta
Mighty Nanay.
Oo.
Mighty Nanay ba? Hinahanap ko kasi.
Mighty Mom, whatever. Basta yung nakasalamin, tapos yung, it's October 31 today, and in history, alam ko, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Kung ano naman po ang username niyo sa TikTok, hindi ko na ma-remember. Mamaya hanapin namin.
As of this recording, hindi din. Wait, let us search.
Anyway, anong sinabi niya, Scotty?
Hindi, if you want facts about Philippine history, madami siya doon.
If this episode, tears interest nila, diba?
Oo. Meron pa mag-share ng Philippine history.
Yes.
Raffy. What's your bit of history?
Ang alam, if I'm not mistaken, IIRC. This fact is not as obscure as yours, pero I don't think it's the rest enough that a Belgian king almost bought the Philippines from Spain. Actually, tinry niya na. So parang during the time of world domination ng Spanish, Dutch, British, ganyan. Yung mga time na yon, nung mga may empire pa, King Leopold II of Belgium wanted to turn Belgium into one of the world's richest countries. So during that time, how would you make this possible is having a colony. Since parang ang hot topic nung time na yun was yung Asia, because I don't know if it's exactly the same time, diba? Pero medyo overlapping yung time na yun, yung mga the Dutch going to India and tapos Britain going to Africa, yung mga ganon, Spain with the Philippines. Basta alam ko during those years, So he wanted the Philippines because it's a gateway to nearby countries. Kasi parang from, 'di ba, open tayo on one side.
Wait lang, para po sa mga nanonood sa YouTube at para sa mga listeners natin sa Spotify. So alam niyo po ba may dance step si Bekshi Raffy habang pinapaliwanag niya ang kanyang history?
You have to watch us on YouTube as well.
Inaano ko kasi, parang binivisualize ko, parang 'di ba sa West Philippine Sea, doon sa kabila, east side,
sa east,
ang open, right?
Eastern Pacific.
So, it would be a gateway to like Indonesia, Malaysia, true ba? So, makikita naman to dun sa book about King Leopold. ang ano dito, so in 1866, a year after his ascension, King Leopold asked his ambassador in Madrid to negotiate with the Queen of Spain about the possibility of ceding the Philippines to Belgium. Pero hindi natuloy kasi yung the people in King Leopold's government did not want na magkaroon ng colony because it would be hassle to them na they would send out naval vessels and army to protect an interest that's halfway across the world. Kasi diba, Belgium is in Europe, Philippines is in Asia. Tapos, iikot pa sila.
In geography.
Yes. Basically, TLDR, nalaman ko yun. I'm applying yung mga natutunan ko kay Intellectual Bex. So, TLDR, 2 times siyang nakipag-negotiate. Yung second time, nag-loan pa siya sa British banks. Pero, hindi siya pinagbigyan. So, both of them were rejected. Ang third try niya was a scheme to first turn the Philippines into an independent country and later into a colony. Sounds familiar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
sounds family.
Oo. So, yon nag-fail na siya doon. So, after 3 tries, parang yung dream niya is na-stop. Pero, natuloy yon nung King Leopold II had a colony in Congo, in Africa.
Well, kasi napakaganda rin kasi talaga ng pwesto ng Philippines. Kaya medyo pinag-agawan tayo. We're in demand. That's why napaka-varied ng races na mga nandito sa nasa Pilipinas. Ang daming pumasok na kung ano-anong race, 'di ba?
Ano na sa Pacific side natin?
Kala ko, paano ka? Ganyan. Kala ko, stretch mo yung kamay mo.
Hindi, ano yung nearest side sa Pacific side ng Philippines?
Blanco na yun.
Micronesia.
Ha?
Malayo na.
Oo.
Malayo na.
Mga Micronesian states na.
Oo. To our west, yan na yung
West
other
Philippines
countries.
Sea, tapos Vietnam, Cuba, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore.
Actually, ganun din sa South eh. Malaysia, di ba?
Malaysia, Australia.
Oo. Pero yung part ng east of the Philippines and yung Australia, ganyan, New Zealand, Micronesia states na yun.
Okay.
Hindi na pala
Bakit mo natanong
history?
yun?
Hindi pala history. Inaalam ko lang. Sorry. Kasi sa Pacific side. Kasi di ba ang laki na ng gap papunta dun sa sunod.
Sabihin ko sana, yung nasa east side natin ay yung Pacific Ring of Fire. Charot. Kasali pala tayo mismo doon. Kasama tayo sa circle.
Kasama tayo doon?
Oo, kasama tayo doon. Kaya nga, because we're a volcanic island. Archipelago. Charot, napaka-interesting to find out these things, di ba? I mean, ang interesting na pinag-agawan pala. Well, kasi alam natin na pinag-agawan tayo ng Japan and United States. Of course, like that's a given. That's part of our history. But apparently, meron palang ano nga yun? Ano nga yung
Belgium.
Pero yun, bayaran. Yun na, bayaran pa. Pero kasi yung sa US at sa Japan, di ba may bombahan?
May bayaran din yun.
Pero
may
bayaran yun. Treaty. Saka yung like, with US and Russia, binaya din ni US si Russia in acquiring Alaska. So, nung time na yon, nung mga may ganyan talaga, bayaran talaga yan.
Kasi the Western countries
thought
then
that they were the higher race. Kasi parang ito, sige, fact na lang, trivia, additional sa ating obscure history facts. Most Westerners think that they are the direct descendants of the Roman Empire. Feeling nila, ang mga Romans were Caucasian, na parang white skin, blonde chua. Ang hindi nila alam, Romans, since nasa Italy sila, parang yung, tsaka Greece, ganyan, hindi sila malapit doon. Parang they were olive brown skin, ganyan. Hindi parang typical na blonde, tapos white, tapos parang...
Pale white that you see in the US, gano'n.
Yeah.
Not that.
Yes. Pero ang tingin nila is they are the descendants of one of the greatest civilizations that lived on Earth.
And, well, up until the current part of history that we're a part of naman, actually evident pa rin that the influence din naman talaga of Westerners, no, is spread all over the world. Na anyway, sa ibang topic na yon, meron pa ako i-share sa ibang topic na yan. So regarding that topic, but for today, ayan, we have seen some obscure part of history, both international and local. But before I end this episode, I just want to remind everyone that okay, it's all fun and interesting to find out all these things about the obscure part of history na kakaiba kasi that's different, di ba? But you have to remember that studying history is not just about knowing these things. It's also about understanding the bad things that happened, the good things that happened, and knowing how to prevent those bad things from happening again. Dapat aware tayo doon.
Experience is the best teacher. And kaya nga may tayo na history repeats itself kasi parang it's a negative connotation pag sinabing history repeats itself most of the time kasi nangyari na sa history, alam na dapat natin kung saan nagkamali, saan nag-excel, whatever. Pero hindi pa din nangyayari or hindi pa na-improve on that situation.
The reason for that is possibly kasi hindi naman masyadong inaaral. Like ako, honestly, hindi naman ako super into history, honestly. Kaya nga yung mga sinasabi nyo na other stuff kanina, parang ako, interesting. Like, I don't know that. Like, or I don't remember that.
Parang hindi naman kailangan na super Parang,
diba?
like, you don't need to be like, a historian, diba? To apply yon. Pero once na may knowledge, enough knowledge ka naman, diba? Parang alam mo na. Parang, or once na may nangyayaring event, like sa buhay natin, di ba? Kaya nga, I mean, this will be controversial or what, pero kaya nga, yung mga hindi nagsusupport kay Marcos, kay BBM, kasi ang nakikita nila based on their experience, based sa history, di ba, na it will repeat. Parang the son will repeat what the dad did. So, ayaw na nilang mangyari yun kasi alam nila it was hard during that time.
So, dapat aware din tayo sa mga telltale signs na may possible na mangyari ang isang bagay ulit.
Yes.
And let's not revise history, guys. Okay.
Scotty.
Aray, sorry na. Sorry na.
Let's not revise history. Wag natin biglang baguhin ng Cavite to Cavite. Huwag ganun, guys. Respeto.
Wow.
At saka alam mo, isang reason for me, parang personal reason for learning history, aside from learning stuff na nangyari nung hindi ka pa nabubuhay, parang it's thinking din sa'yo na parang mapapaisip ka na, what if nga na binenta tayo ni Spain kay Belgium, right? Parang so yung mga traditions and beliefs natin for sure iba. Baka for sure we are not as Catholic as we are now because of Belgium, 'di ba? Yung ganon. Parang anong itsura ng buhay natin ngayon kay Belgium, 'di ba?
Gusto ko yung ulit kay Belgium. Belgium. Enjoy kang sabihin yan. Pero that's true kasi just, ripple effect ng just a tiny bit of history baguhin. that could change a lot of things. But yeah, mapapa-what if ka lang talaga sa mga malalaman na. If ganito yung mindset ko, siguro, honestly, kung siguro ganito yung sa pinag-uusapan natin, kung ganito yung mindset ko nung high school, ang dami ko siguro natutunan about sa history. Kasi ang ganda ng mga textbook namin about history. As in, super ganda.
Ako, I love history. Parang it's one of my favorite subjects. Talaga.
Ang ganda nga niya, it's just that nung time na yon I focused on the sciences. Ngayon late ko na-realize, shucks, ang ganda.
Science high school ka, di ba? So, syempre mag-focus ka sa science.
Sa science. Pero,
yun nga. Pero kasi, magaling na history teacher talaga. Yung teacher ko ng history.
ang
Magaling
bakit
niya magturo.
nung high school, hindi ko bet ang history. Nung college ko lang, yung kursong Rizal,
Ako ever since, kaya pati yung Discovery Channel, lalo na pag history, ng mga documentaries. Not only about Belgium, char. Paisingit lang ulit si Belgium.
Ayan, so
naman
si
dyan
Belgium. Na favorite.
Mamaya magbigay ka ng chocolate.
Belgian choco. Kakainis. Last mo na yan.
Kaya
Anyway.
Pero wait lang. I need to, this one. Kasi yung sinasabi namin, TikTok account ni Raffy, nakita ko na siya. So, si Mighty Magulang.
Ayun.
Yan. So, Bekshi Pao, if you need more about history ni Gen Z, Bekshi Magulang. Paano po? Pa-hi po Pa-hi pag
Hi, Mighty Magulang.
Hi po, Mighty Magulang. Ayan. So, again, we learned a lot. Reminder lang, let's not revise history and let's learn from it. Okay? It's there not to torture us with so many details, but so that we can prevent mistakes from the past. Mistakes made by our ancestors and, everyone. People of, the olden times. And with that, thank you so much for joining us in another episode. And as usual, this is Pao.
This is Scotty.
And this is Raffy.
And this has been Somewhere in the Middle.